Right, we've done the harmonic minor. I just want to cover the melodic minor as well, just because, as I said in the previous video, there are three main minor scales, and I'm not doing you justice if I don't show you all of them. Okay, so we've covered the natural minor ages ago. Okay. This is the harmonic minor that we just did a video about. Okay. This is the melodic minor. Okay. First things first, yes, it is different on the way up than it is on the way down. Now, a little bit of a history lesson here. It was born in kind of classical music times, okay, so it is a classical music device. So we're going to look at that first of all, and that different on the way up to the way down and thing is where that kind of came from. It then evolved into something called the jazz melodic minor, which we're looking as well. And then I just want to kind of look at some kind of more contemporary mainstream uses for it. I do say it's not used in kind of contemporary music as much as the harmonic minor, and nowhere near as much as the natural minor, but it does give you some extra chord options. And again, I just want to cover all the bases. If you know, when you come to songwriting, this kind of stuff, you've got as many options to open to as you kind of can. Okay, so let's just kind of look at the scale first of all. So the kind of old school classical natural melodic minor goes like this. So let's look at the intervals first of all. The first 5 intervals are the same as both the natural and the harmonic minor. They don't really change. We get root, major second, minor third, perfect fourth, perfect fifth. That's always the same. Okay, but in the melodic minor we get a major sixth and a major seventh before we get to the octave on the way up, and on the way down we go minor sixth, or minor seventh, minor sixth, perfect fifth, perfect fourth, and so on. Okay, so root, major second, minor third, perfect fourth, perfect fifth, major seventh, major sixth, major seventh, octave, minor seventh, minor sixth, perfect fifth, perfect fourth, minor third, major second, root. Okay. The reason they did this is because they were experimenting with the harmonic minor, and that was sounding great. They got their whole kind of major chord 5 to minor chord 1 thing going on, but melodically, it created quite a big jump. When we look at the kind of the tone formula for this, we get kind of a tone, semitone, tone, tone, semitone, minor third, semitone. Okay, and that minor third, that is quite a big jump, particularly if you want to do one of those kind of cool classical style runs, normally from kind of like the fifth up to the octave. It created quite a big leap. So they sharpened that 6th degree again on the way up to allow that to kind of bridge that gap a little bit. But they still want to retain the minor feel of the scale, which is why when it's descending, you kind of got those minor intervals. So the rule was, if your melody was ascending, you used the major 6th, the major 7th, and if you were descending, you used the minor 7th and the minor 6th. Okay, it kind of works. I kind of like it. Again, it's a bit too much of a brain thing for me to kind of be different on the way up, on the way down. And it was exactly the same for jazz musicians. So when the jazz kind of movement kind of came along, they just kind of sacked off the whole different on the way up to the way down thing, and they just adopted the way up thing. So the jazz melodic minor is just that first bit. Going down, it's the same as the way up. So your kind of standalone melodic minor is different on the way up to the way down. Your jazz melodic minor is the same both ways. Okay. That's kind of cool as a scale. It kind of works. It's kind of good. It gives you some kind of options in your melodies when you're composing, because you have kind of options both on the 6th and the 7th. Our kind of Western ears have been conditioned to accept it, so you know, don't be afraid to experiment with that minor 6th, that minor 7th over minor chord sequences. Just be careful which chord you're doing it over, obviously, because you might get some clashes. Let's look at the chords of this then. So what this does is because we're changing another note within that scale, there are another 3 chords that change. So compared to the natural minor, we've now got 6 chords that are different. So basically every single one, bar the A minor. So it does give us a few more options. So let's have a look at that. So chord 1 is going to be A minor. We know this. That's totally fine. In the natural and harmonic minors, chord 2 is always diminished. Because we've now changed that F, or that 6th, to a major sixth, or in this case, because I'm in A, an F sharp, we actually get a B minor, or a minor chord 2, which is quite nice, because normally it's the diminished, so that's kind of cool, gives us another option. The chord 3 is still augmented, because we've still got that major 7th in there. Your chord 4 is now major, because we've made that sixth interval, that F is now an F sharp. Your chord 5 is still major, because we've taken that from the harmonic minor. Your chord 6 now turns to a diminished chord, because again we've raised that interval, and your chord 7 remains diminished. Okay, so let's just run over that. We've got minor, minor, augmented, major, major, diminished, diminished. Okay, so we've kind of sacked off the diminished and got another diminished, but that's cool. It gives us some more options. Okay, so as I say, if you're writing classical music, you might want to kind of follow those rules, but let's look at it from this more contemporary songwriter point of view. Okay, what it does is it gives you more chord options. Okay, so if you're in a minor key, rather than having kind of 7 chord options, one of which is a diminished chord, which isn't used nearly as much, or nearly as much as it should be, we've now got like 10 or 12 chords that we can use, all of which are fair game, all of which we can use. Slight disclaimer here, like when I say chords you can use any chord you like. I'm not the chord police. Just these are the musical rules, and these are some ways of kind of bending those rules. If you play an A minor and then you want to go to a C sharp diminished, crack on. I'm not going to stop you. But again, these are the musical rules. So in a minor key, technically, these are all the chords that are available to you. Okay. I'm going to exclude the diminished ones here, because you know where they are. These are the ones that kind of would fit more in that kind of contemporary mainstream environment. So we've got chord 1 will have to be a minor, because it will. Chord 2, you could play the diminished, but the minor chord is more palatable, so we've got a minor chord 2 now, which is cool. Chord 3 could be major. Could make it augmented if you wanted to, but major is probably the more kind of palatable one. D minor can be minor or major. Or chord 4 can be minor or major, I'll relate it to the numbers. Chord 5 can be minor or major. Chord 6 can be major, and chord 7 can be major. So we get this option of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 chords. Okay, excluding all our augmented and diminished ones as well, which kind of puts it up to kind of like, as I say, 10 or 12. So it just gives you more options there, guys. The kind of more common ones to use from the melodic minor, that major chord 4 is probably the biggest bonus from there, because it gives you a major chord. Again, there is a hint of the Dorian mode in that, because that would kind of yield the same result. That minor chord 2 as well, that's quite a common usage for it, and again, it does give you a little bit of a kind of bit of tension, bit of lift, but not nearly as much as going. That really does kind of fit us in the classical, but going, that really works, and that's lovely in my opinion. So that's the melodic minor. Okay. Again, you don't need to get too hung up on the history of it, but just knowing that those other chords are available to you when you're in that minor key gives you those options and lets you know what you're working with. So there you have it. Good work.